Hello, this is Jack Gill and welcome to Redmen Academy. I am joined by James again today. This was due to be yesterday's video, but we had some issues and we're both busy, so we apologise, but we're going to bring you two videos today instead. I just wanted to have a look in this video, James, at Harvey Elliott. Obviously turned 17 on Friday, which means he can now get a first team contract. He's likely to be offered one probably when football resumes. The maximum contract you can give a 17-year-old is 3 years. I think if that wasn't the case, Liverpool would want to tie Harvey Elliott down to a much longer contract, James.
Yeah, and I think this time next year, if we get another contract too, a 5-year contract, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It's just giving him the contract now as soon as possible to get him, staying at the club, and then obviously extend that in 12 months' time because he's that good and he's that young that you need him to be on a long-term contract. Without doubt.
This is a lad, James, who was 16 this season. He's had an excellent season. He's scored goals like he scored against Wolves with that overhead kick. He's been fantastic in the Carabao Cup for the first team in the quarter-final against Aston Villa. And he's really excited Liverpool fans because, he's the sort of player that at 16 years old, now 17, of course, just has you on the edge of your seat all the time. Do you think he'll become a star at Liverpool in the next few seasons?
Yeah, definitely, because we need a player in his position. We need a natural winger because obviously we have players who can cut inside. He has that ability to go direct as well, and he doesn't mind, doing the job of going on the outside, looking to get a cross in. And obviously, we can see that his 5 assists in 7 Youth League games is evidence that he has got that creativity, and he's not just going to cut inside and shoot. He will look to bring other teammates into play, which is something that we have lacked at times on the wing.
And obviously, Xherdan Shaqiri, usually who you'd think of for the right wing if we're without Salah. There's also Oxlade-Chamberlain, but I personally prefer him in the middle. And there's also the fact that you could play Mane out wide right and put someone else on the left, like Minamino. Obviously, with Shaqiri missing a lot of the season through injury, a lot of people say that obviously their second for right wing is young Harvey Elliott. And if we are to sell Xherdan Shaqiri in the summer, I personally don't feel as though we need to sign somebody because we've got Harvey Elliott there who, isn't quite first team ready yet, isn't quite ready to play for the best team in the world yet, but he's definitely a brilliant and exciting understudy to have, James.
Yeah, it's very rare that we actually need anyone to come into the side as well. Like, he's probably only going to play, if he's the second choice next season, 12, 15 games max. Plus, then we've also got other players who can play on that side if he's maybe not up to it that week. So it's not, something that we're spending a lot of money on, because realistically, Salah plays 85, 90% of our games anyway. So it seems silly really not to cash in on Shaqiri and then, not give Elliott the chance to deputise and prove that, he's got what it takes.
And do you think it's only a matter of time? Like, do you think it's probably next season where we start to see even more of Harvey Elliott in the first team?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been playing most of his football at Premier League 2 level, and while his stats haven't been brilliant there, when you watch him play, he's one of those players who he doesn't need to be getting a goal and assist every game because of what he brings to the team. And I think when he comes to first team football, it might be frustrating at first that he might, explode onto the scene, but he has a very important role the way he plays, and it's only going to get better the more minutes he gets with the first team, the more training he has, etc.
You mentioned a word there, James, frustrating, and one thing I found with Harvey Elliott, which you have to take into account, he's still a kid, obviously, but he's had quite a lot of negative media attention for stuff that he's done online. Do you think, obviously, he needs to be handled better when he's given this first team contract, and especially over the next couple of years as he gets more and more time in the first team? Do you think it's especially important that the club protect this young man?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it the other week, didn't we? Where we discussed obviously everything that happened, and I think it's important that he has a role model at the club. And I think maybe pairing him up with someone like Jordan Henderson, sort of have him take him under his wing, show him that there's a right way of doing things, there's a wrong way of doing things, is only going to help him going forward because he has got the world at his feet and he's had a lot very soon. So it's just a matter of giving him the best environment really to mature in, I think.
Absolutely. And in an ideal situation, obviously, Liverpool continue to be linked to players like Sancho and Werner and Mbappe, players who are marquee signings and who you want to obviously bring to the club. But at the same time, you don't want any of that front three to go. So you're thinking of, strengthening our squad depth and our options. Do you think that's potentially harmful for players like Harvey Elliott, who are young, exciting, and looking to break through into the first team mould?
I think when you're that young, realistically, there are very few signings that are going to damage your progress long term. Even if you bring someone who's 24, he's just turned 17, he has 7 years on him. Players tend to move on after sort of 3 or 4 years at a club anyway. 3 or 4 years, he'll just be breaking into his 20s. He'll be, 21, turning 22 at the end of that season. So realistically, it's not going to really affect him in the grand scheme of things.
Definitely a superb young man, a superb talent, and a player that I think is going to become a real star in the future. When we signed him from Fulham at the start of last season, I don't think any expected him to be the sort of player that he's shown he is at Liverpool. As we touched on before, he's so exciting and gets everyone on the edge of the seat when he plays. And I touched on that quarter final in the Carabao Cup where he was absolutely outstanding. And he's playing against first team players for Aston Villa, and he's tearing them apart, and he's looking like the best player on the pitch despite the scoreline. And James, as we say, it's only a matter of time before this man gets consistent Premier League minutes. And at just the age of 17, he could probably get first team minutes on a regular basis for many Premier League sides. He is genuinely that good. As I say, they're very, very important for the club to manage him, and very, very important that we keep him under that contract, and hopefully his ego doesn't get too big, or hopefully we give him enough minutes that the lad wants, but also not too many minutes where he's under the spotlight a lot. Do you get what I mean? I think at times this season as well, he's shown that on the pitch that he's still young as well. He's still got a lot of time. He's got his whole career ahead of him. And, I think we talk about the Shrewsbury game, especially the Shrewsbury away game. I saw some criticism about him after then. And you're like, hang on, this player's 17. There's players like Matip, Lovren, and Fabinho on the pitch making mistakes. And, he's 16 at the time. So it's difficult at times, James, because in the day and age we're in, people criticise anything really, and these lads will get criticised, but also he deserves a lot of praise because he's just magnificent at times, isn't he?
It's how he reacts to that criticism though as well, because obviously a 17-year-old coming into that first team isn't going to be easy for him, and people will probably expect him to hit the ground running, instantly start getting goals and assists. But they need to understand that that's not necessarily part of his game. And really, he's only going to get better once he gets into that first team, because he seems like the way he plays, he's going to play better when he has better players around him. You can just tell the way he loves to go outside, drift inside, hold up the ball. If he has better players to make those overlaps, has better options in the box, his numbers are going to get better, very quickly.
And listen, me and James both aren't saying obviously that this guy's going to get a lot of first team minutes this season or even the season after that. But, it'll just be very good for the lad. We speak a lot about Ryan Brewster and how actually the lack of football when he was coming back from an injury hurt him. But I think with Harvey Elliott, it's not necessarily a case of that. It's a case of being with the first team, maturing as a player. I don't think he's at a point where he needs consistent minutes in the under-23s. I think he needs that maturity as a footballer. He needs to learn off first team players. And I think a season of him just being with the first team and just travelling with the first team on a regular basis and being on the bench and, getting the odd minutes here and there, I think it would be very, very important for him. And I think next season is a big season for Harvey Elliott to just sit back and learn. And I think it's going to be very important for him. Do you agree, James?
Yeah, I think he might even get some minutes, obviously, once football resumes this season, whether it's behind closed doors or what. If we're playing, 2 games a week, which is what's, been rumoured to have been happening, we're going to need him to be playing, those easier games, per se, because we can't be having our first team players playing, 8 games in 4 weeks. It's not going to work. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got a little run out.
That's a good point, actually, James, because obviously there was the news today that there might be 2 weeks in between this season finishing and next season starting. And, you've got the fact that we need 6 points to win the league, and then we've still got, 7 or 8 games left. So it may be that Jurgen Klopp starts to play players that haven't played all season and gets them a Premier League medal. which would be brilliant for Harvey Elliott.
Just that managing fitness, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
you've got to manage your squad, and he is an option. So why not use him? There's nothing to lose. I said there's literally nothing to lose already.
Absolutely, but definitely, I think a player to watch in future seasons to Liverpool. I think this lad is going to be phenomenal in the future. And let us know what you think about Harvey Elliott. What's the best way to manage him? Do you think he should be getting regular first team minutes next season? Let us know in the comments. And remember, if you're not already subscribed to Red Ben Academy, make sure you do. We'll be providing a video a day, or if we miss a day like we did yesterday, we'll do 2 a day. Why not? So thank you, and we'll see you in a moment as we prepare another video. It's all right.